Good evening. So, I am back with day 4 of this 30-day journey to breaking your heart open. And this started, if you're just now watching this video, my name is Brandy Wilkes. If you're catching this video at a later date, at a later time, my name is Brandy Wilkes. Or if this is the first video that you are watching, that little piece of hair will not go down. If this is the first video that you are watching and you have not watched it since the beginning, this is the 30-day journey to breaking your heart open. This sparked because, number one, I absolutely believe that you cannot discuss mental health, which is a huge conversation that is currently being talked about and being addressed in the Black community right now, and I absolutely love it. But you cannot talk about mental health without talking about emotional health. And I believe 100%, hands down, that if you do not address and deal with your emotional health, it will always impact your mental health, always. You do not address your emotional health. If you are constantly swallowing, putting on the back burner, ignoring, suppressing, pushing down your emotions, you do not address them, you do not learn the tools to be with your emotions, it will always, in every instance, impact your mental health. And so this is what that 30-day journey is about, because I used to be her. I used to be her. I say that I had two emotions, anger and sadness. That was it. Those were the only two emotions that I learned. What I have also learned, and I want you to know, this has been a 20-year journey for me. It doesn't have to take you that long. It doesn't have to take you the years that it has taken me. And through the next 30 days, through the journey of storytelling and telling my story, I want to be able to share the process of the stories that we create, that create the layers over our heart, that hardens our heart, so to speak. And then the process of breaking all of those layers down, the process of being with our emotions, examining them, and then recreating the stories. And so I want to be able to do that through storytelling over the next 30 days. And so yesterday, I left off with telling the first level of insecurity. And it was a story about the 6 or 7-year-old me visiting a family member years ago. And I walked into the home of this distant family member. It was a distant family member that I didn't see often, maybe once a year, if that. And I walked in, and she said to another adult that I was with, you know, Brandy, she's coming into herself, or she's coming into her looks, or, you know, she's coming along. And that was the first thing. We were still, I remember very vividly, we were still even standing at the door. I had not even made it all the way into the house. And here it is, this very excitable, I thought that I was unique, young girl, at the age of 6 or 7 years old. And hearing her say that caused some confusion in me. It did. It caused some deep confusion with me. And I remember running into the bathroom and on my little tiptoes, peeking over the sink in the bathroom and staring at my face, asking, what is she talking about? What's wrong with me? And there was nothing wrong with me, but what is she talking about? And that very subtle statement planted a seed of insecurity for me that I would carry for the next 30 years. That subtle incident of this woman, who I imagine she did not say it in, like she was not being, she wasn't being mean about it. I think it's just a something that we say to kids. You're growing into yourself. You're growing into your clothes, your shoes, your feet. You know, so the kids be awkward looking at certain times. And I don't know that it was said with her being mean, but her making that statement planted a seed of insecurity. And I began to think about, after I posted that yesterday, I began to think about how my 6 or 7 year old brain created the story that then carried with me that something was wrong with me and something was broken. And how did I come up with that particular story? And I began to think about, just in general, one of the ways that we create stories is because a lot of humans have a problem with ambiguity. We have the need and a desire to make sense out of nonsense. We need to fill in the blanks. There is a need for closure. And that is why a lot of us, there are so many conspiracy theories, we do this all the time, even at work and in my daily life. I read I'm on social media, I read news. When something happens that doesn't make sense to us, where we cannot line up all of the details for it to make sense for us, we begin to create stories that then make sense. Well, that sounded fishy, so this must be the story. Or when someone makes a statement that can be interpreted as ambiguous, or the intention is ambiguous and there's room to create more of a story, that is what humans will do to create closure and to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense to us. Right? We do it all the time. We do it all the time. That is because it is a primal need as humans to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. We don't even know that we're doing it most of the time. We don't even know that we're doing it. And my 6-year-old brain had to make sense of, wait a minute, I'm unique. I'm the only girl in the world with the name Brandy. I'm the only one with the birthday of May 5th. I have all of these things that I think are unique to me. What is this woman talking about? I'm coming into myself. I'm coming along in my looks. What is she talking about? It made no sense to me. And the story that the 6-year-old created was, then something must be wrong with me. I don't know why that was the story that I created. I don't know. But that was a story that the 6-year-old created, or the 7. It was 6 or 7. Okay, I'm gonna just go back between 6 and 7 in this story. So whatever. Okay. But that is the story that I created. But I really began to think about, why do we create the stories? And I do believe that that is one way and one reason that we create stories that we create, is because there is a need to solve for X. There's a need to solve for X. And without the proper guidance and without the proper counteracting of what the world would have for you, we create those stories. That seed was planted and it germinated with a story. And what ended up happening was, over the years after that, I would run to the bathroom before I would go anywhere. Before I would go anywhere or do anything, I would go to the bathroom to check to see if something was wrong with me. And it was that subtle, subconscious stories that we create that begin to grow. And it's the process of being able to examine what that story, with the emotion that produces, right? The story that is associated with that event, and then the emotion that is produced from that. And had I known, 20 years ago, that I didn't have to carry that with me, I used that story and it became true for me. It became true for me. What that woman said 30 something years ago became true for me. And what I interpreted was, something must be wrong with me. I must not be as, attractive as everybody else. And quite honestly, that feels very vulnerable to say, because we live in a society where we're supposed to have a certain level of security and esteem of ourselves. And so we're not supposed to say things like that. that also contributes to our deterioration of our mental health and our emotional state, because we feel like something is wrong with us if we feel that way. Because I felt it for years, that I'm supposed to have a certain level, which we should and we all should, but I don't, and something must be wrong with me. I must be broken. I must be broken. And that was the farthest from the truth. What the truth is, somebody made a statement based on her, whatever she had going on, whatever she was thinking or whatever, right? And it had nothing to, I didn't have to accept it. But as a 6 or 7-year-old, that is the information that I had, and I interpreted that information at my primal need to solve for X. That is the story that I created. So I want you to consider the stories that you have created, that you have had to solve for X, and determine how you can, is the story true, and can you change the story? Can this story be changed? One of the things that my coach say all the time, if you're going to create a story, create one that serves you. If you're going to write your own story, write a story where you are the hero. That's it. Write a story where you're going to be the hero. And if you're going to solve for X, create a story that serves you. Create a story that serves you. And so where are you creating stories in your life right now? Let's not even deal with before, but what are stories that you're creating right now that do not serve you, that you're solving for X because the information is just not lining up, it doesn't make sense, and you're creating a story that does not serve you, that make you the villain, that make you the bad guy, that make you the broken one? Where? I'm super excited about the next, 27 days, 26 days, I can't count, 26 days. I am excited. I don't know what is going to come up. I don't have a script. I don't have this written out. Just day by day, as whatever comes up, that is what I am going to share, and I'm excited about it. I am nervous, but I'm still excited about it. And so, again, feel free to share, like, and please comment. A lot of the topics that I will be discussing are very sensitive topics that I know that most people will not talk about and discuss. And it feels very vulnerable to be this exposed. And I'm willing to do it if it saves somebody else. And what just came up for me was, I'm willing to do it if it saves me first. If it continues to save me and cause me to grow and stretch, then I'm willing to be this vulnerable and exposed. So, that is my story for tonight. I will see you tomorrow with day 5. I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but when tomorrow I get here, that's what we're going to do. So, all right, have a good night.